Welcome, in front of me is a MEDION E5005, and today I'll show you a couple tweaks and tricks that I can do on this device. So we're going to start off with Memo Revision, which will improve the quality of the image and color spectrum basically, and also there's another one for contrast. So let's jump straight to the settings, and from settings to display, and at the top you will see Memo Revision. So once you tap on it, you'll have the three bars up here, and picture mode by default set to standard, as you can see, but you can change it to vivid, which will basically increase the saturation of images, making colors a little bit more pop. And then if you go back to here, you'll also see at the bottom dynamic contrast. Once you select this, select it, maybe it will be visible better. You have the default image, and then when you check it on, it kind of increases the contrast. Now it does it in a weird way that it gradually increases it, but when you disable it, it just jumps straight back to the contrast off. So you can see it basically drastic difference when you disable this, which I think it is visible on the video. Makes basically image a little bit more vivid, I guess. That's probably the word I would use for it. Yeah, so now if we go back, another thing that I'll show is the daydream, which what this will allow when the device is enabled, or not enabled, when the mode is enabled and you plug in the device, it will display whatever you set it to display. So again, it's in display, and it's right here. So let's just tap on it, and you have basically a bunch of options that you can enable here. And by default, I think it's enabled to have clock. You can also choose colors. Colors don't really do anything, it's just rainbow effect basically on the screen. Then you have photo frame, photo tab, photos, and that's about it, and also news. So whatever you select, you can also customize. For photos, if you select them, you actually have to add photos there, so it has something to display. And clock is just self-explanatory, but you can change it to different kind of clock. If you style, it's digital, you can change it to analog, as you can see. And then night mode, very dim display, so that's more for use at night. And if you tap here on the three dots, you will also have option when to daydream, and you have it while charging or off. So if we change it to while charging, and now I grab a cable, I'm not sure if it's gonna work when it's plugged into the computer, but I guess we'll see. So just plug it in, lock the screen. Wait, I think there's probably a pop-up now. Yep, there it is. So charging, and let's lock it. Let's see if it will work. I know for a fact that it works with a normal charger when you plug it into the wall. Haven't tried it with computer, but I guess once the display goes dim, oh, there it is. So it does work, as you can see. So it shows you such a clock, and you can change it to analog or digital. You can also have it display photos, like I said, and a couple other things. So let's just unplug it and go back to the rest of the tweaks. So another thing that I will show is a little bit of a handy kind of thing, which will basically, it's an airplane mode, but not for the typical use. So when you enable airplane mode, normally it just disconnects from everything and just kind of drops you off the face of the earth without being connected to anything. But what the useful part of this is, when you enable it and disable it, if you had some kind of problem with your cell towers or basically connection for calls and stuff like that, it will automatically, after basically reconnecting to any cell tower, it will connect to the closest one to you, thus improving the call quality and a couple other things that you might have struggled before. So that's kind of, in that aspect, handy. Now, moving on, we're gonna go into scheduled power on and off. Now, this one ain't the most powerful one, so any kind of benefit that you can get, it's probably good. And what basically scheduled power on and off will do is clear cache and also clear any kind of background apps without you needing to deal with it on a daily basis. And you can schedule it basically every day if you wanted to, but best for the phone is, from what I read, is basically like once a week apparently. just so the phone basically clears all the cache that it has stored and kind of like the redundant files. And to enable it, we're gonna go into the settings again, and if I remember correctly, it's a basically schedule power on and off tab by itself. Yep, there it is, schedule power on and off. And from here you have it set to every day, 7 to 8. Now you can tap on it, and then time, change it to something else, into a different time, and then change it to not repeat, for instance, every day, but let's say if we wanted to only be once a week, we would set it up to power off, for instance, on just select Friday, tap on OK, and then time, for instance, somewhere in the middle of the night or closer to night. So I would select somewhere around 11, like so. Let's make it even more interesting and set it to 11:40. Then tap on done. That's basically when it turns back on. And we want it to turn off also on Friday in this case. And let's put it to 11. Let's put it to 30. Yep. Actually, wait, that's not the 11 that I wanted. Or is it? Can you give me minutes? Okay, so let's keep it like so. Select Friday. Yeah, it didn't really set as I wanted. There we go. So I wanted to set to like this. Now tap done. And it will be turning off only on Friday at 11:30 and turning back on in 10 minutes. And that's all it really needs to just clear files. Basically the shut off itself is the process that it needs to clear the redundant files, and the 10 minutes is not really needed, but you can also set it up to preserve battery if you wanted to by setting it up every day. Let's say from when you get back home and you stop using your phone, if you're not really an advocate user of like mobile devices at home, then you could theoretically set it to turn off throughout the entire night and only turn on a little bit before, let's say, your alarm clock, and set it like so. Yeah, so that'll be another thing. Now moving to the last thing, it's gonna make the password basically invisible. Now, if you're not a biggest fan of the passwords like I am, when you're putting them in, for instance, to Wi-Fi, let me just turn it back on and demonstrate what I mean. So once you select a Wi-Fi that is actually protected, and that goes along with anything that has a password that is supposedly hidden, but when you start typing, you always see the latest letter that you typed. So if you're not typing too fast the password, if someone is speaking over your shoulder, they can basically gather your entire password just by the letters that it's showing them. And to basically disable this, you can go into the settings. So let me just leave here. Tap on settings again, and then go into security. So right here, security. And then you will have a make password visible. Disable this. And now if we go back to actually putting in the password, again, I select some random password. Now if I start typing, you can see that it's immediately at that, and it doesn't really show any kind of letter apart from the one that is under my finger. So that would be the last thing that I want to show. And if you found any of these tweaks and tricks helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.